It's time to officially put the Detroit Lions behind us, because if we get caught slipping, the Jacksonville Jaguars will pounce all over us. This is a team that is looking to avenge that AFC divisional loss, and the Kansas City Chiefs, they're trying to avoid going 0-2. This is going to be a fun, exciting matchup. Today, I will be previewing it and going through each and everything the Kansas City Chiefs must do to pull out a win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And with that, let's cut the chit chat and let's have some fun. Now, before we kick off this preview, it is time to sound the alarms because I will be going live on the channel for game day yet again. It is so much fun chatting with Chiefs Kingdom and just enjoying play-by-play, good or bad, and talking good Kansas City Chiefs football. The game will, of course, be live this Sunday, the 17th at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you're on the West Coast, that is 10 a.m., and those are all the time zones I know. So don't ask me to go into any more specifics. But I look forward to having you there. Please be sure to hit that bell so you don't miss out on it. And let's just have a good time. Now also, before we do get into this preview as well, I wanted to cover something else because these last 2 days in practice have been exciting for the simple fact that the Kansas City Chiefs got two leaders back, Travis Kelce and Chris Jones. And man, they look like they're having a good time and they're enjoying life. And it brings a good attitude out there to the football field. You just see it. With how much fun those two guys bring, it's a fun atmosphere. And it kind of lightens the mood on the whole football team. This week has been a tough week. This offseason, you can even say, has been tough with holdouts, injuries, and things that may go on. But it's football time. It's time for us to get our Kansas City Chiefs back into that winning way. So let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, how I'm going to attack this is the same way that I preview the Detroit Lions. We're going to match up the offense versus the defense, and then our defense versus the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. And nonetheless, let's kick it off with the Kansas City Chiefs offense, and we'll focus a little bit on QB1 himself, Patrick Mahomes. Now, against the Detroit Lions, he didn't have a terrible game. Of course, the main focus was on the wide receiving core, but he didn't have a perfect game either. There was throws he missed, and it does tend to happen with Mahomes. But as you've seen ever since that loss on Thursday, all the way until basically right now, live seconds, he is dialed in. He is motivated. He is ready to go. You could tell he hates losing. And one thing he doesn't want to do is lose back-to-back. And he's going to be focused. He knows this Jacksonville Jaguars team is hungry. They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs twice last year. They don't want to make it a three-peat. So they're going to be hungry too. They're an up-and-coming team. And Trevor Lawrence and the gang is going to throw everything possible at him. What Mahomes is going to hope for here is he should be getting his old reliable and Travis Kelce back, but it's depending on the wide receiver core. And where I mean he's going to be focused, he's going to try not to make the throws too difficult and make a play to where it gives his receivers a chance to get a good catch and make plays downfield. But now, a surprising topic of conversation throughout the league since the Kansas City Chiefs kicked off the season was the offensive line, and all eyes were zoned in on Jawan Taylor. And I hate to say it, Chiefs Kingdom, but they're going to zone in on him heavy. Reports have come out now that going into week 2, refs are going to throw flags and they're going to dial in and be more strict on the alignment and the early snaps of these offensive linemen. Of course, every time the Kansas City Chiefs display something, it always has to become a penalty or rules go against them. Go figure. Trying to make it more difficult for us. But all jokes aside, this is something that's been going on for years. So the fact that they're pinning down on it now, I'll just say, okay. But I'm not going to be surprised. Jawan Taylor is going to have penalties called on him that may not even be true penalties because you may be questioning his alignment, but his real snap count and what he has a cadence with Creed Humphreys is ridiculous, and it's almost bare none on time. Literally, when Creed Humphreys flinches, Jawan Taylor moves. I'm not questioning that. Everyone else questioning with alignment, I can give you. But for to say he's jumping off false start, I'm going to argue with you, and it's going to get called, and we're going to hate it, and there's going to be flags against the Chiefs. I have a feeling, and that's going to be a huge disadvantage. But hopefully we see an adjustment by this line. And I believe Coach Reed and Andy Heck and the boys will have them ready to go. That way they don't get caught in a predicament like that and they don't try to make a ref make a call they should not make. But also, they need to hold up, because one thing that this Jacksonville Jaguars team did last week, specifically in one player itself, Josh Allen, not the quarterback, the pass rusher, had 3 sacks against rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson. Chiefs Kingdom, we're all so familiar with Josh Allen, the pass rusher, because he was a hot commodity towards the trade deadline last year, and we were all hopeful that he would be a Kansas City Chief. And I mentioned, he's going to come into his own sooner rather than later. Well, sooner is right upon the corner, and he likes to rush from the right side. So Jawan Taylor, you got a hefty task, but it's not someone you are not familiar with. And Jawan Taylor and the Jags, they're all familiar with each other. So best believe those are going to be good battles up front. And I also want to see how Donovan Smith builds upon last week's performance. Let's look for this line to hold up, and then hopefully Mahomes can find one of these pass catchers, because that's what we're going to zone in right now, and that's what the whole league is going to zone in, because there is no question almost 90% of the world thinks the Kansas City Chiefs lost the game because they didn't have a legit wide receiver on the football field. And it's a phase of the game, and I can see the argument, because if some catches were made, the Kansas City Chiefs win the game. But there was also things that failed along the way. But in regards to the wide receivers, I do expect a bounce back. And in particular, Kadarius Toney. He is a legit threat. He just needs time. And when I mean needs time, it's not like growing into the system. He has legit missed the whole training camp and preseason, and he was thrown out there early. Now that he has another 10 days coming back, he may look more of himself. And also another positive sign is he's taking it serious. Every day after practice, he's been spending another 30 minutes on the jug machines, making sure he doesn't get caught in the same situation as last week. And he wants to prove he is the reliable guy that the Kansas City Chiefs traded for. I'm excited to see him. Honestly, I think he could break out. And when I mean break out, it's not like break the roof, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. But if he has 80 yards and a touchdown, I think that's huge. Coming off the performance he had last week with 5 targets, 3 of them were dropped, and 1 of them caused a pick 6, I feel like he is going to be a legit threat. Now, transitioning a little more to Sky Moore. I do not know what to make of him. He's getting into that category for me as I need to see it on the football field, and I need to see it quick. Now, I'm not doubting him. I just want to see the plays happen. And I believe Mahomes will try to feed him the ball too and try to get him to make a play. But right now, I'm more dependent and believing on Kadarius Toney than Sky Moore. And another man's number can be called up. That can be like a rookie wide receiver, Rashee Rice, who had his first touchdown last week. He's going to see more playing time as the weeks progress. And then Justin Watson, MVS, and Justin Ross. They all got playmaking ability. So if Sky Moore can't answer the bell, best believe Coach Reed's not going to wait long, and he's going to get someone on the field that can make a play. But for all of this to work is because we will have Travis Kelce back. Now, Travis Kelce does not have to be really productive in this game for the Kansas City Chiefs to win. All he's got to do, which he will do, is draw the coverages. Whether it be man coverage, double coverage, you name it, Kelce will get his plays if he plays in this game. Will he go berserk? Probably not, but if he does, that's also a double bonus. But the Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers last week were struggling to get open. Besides Kadarius Toney, even though he was dropping passes, he didn't have an issue getting open. With Travis Kelce on the field and drawing an extra defender, someone else should be able to get open. There's really no ifs, ands, buts, or should be any questions about it. This is going to be another game where the receivers have to answer the bell. And I swear, I get tired of saying it. I feel like I shouldn't even focus on it in videos because Coach Reed doesn't even focus on it himself, but run the damn football. That leads you with a balanced offense. And if anyone can do it very well, it's Isaiah Pacheco. Give him a chance to get in a rhythm. He can do it. He can be reliable. But what I saw last week was a bad thing that the Kansas City Chiefs tend to do, and it's the rotation of 3 running backs where you're basically giving it to a running back 5 times, another one 5 times, and another one 5 times. That has no chance of getting a running back in momentum and having a good game. focus solely on one or two and move forward with that. And I'm not going to discredit Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but the two I would focus on is Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon. And the reason I'm putting Jerick McKinnon in there is because he is basically like Travis Kelce to Patrick Mahomes. He is a reliable weapon, he is a reliable blocker, and he's a reliable runner. You should have him in there by any means necessary. And then when you need a yard, give it to the grown man. I'm tired of seeing this cute shit go back and forth, whether it be a reverse, whether you get Blake Bell in there. Sometimes you get too cute for your own good. Stay traditional, because also the teams don't expect the Kansas City Chiefs to stay traditional on those short yardage, and that's why they're ready for it. But if you come traditional, that in a sense is kind of cute because no one is expecting it. Just go back to the 60s and 70s and give it to Pacheco and see if he can get it. Honestly, I wouldn't be upset even if he does get it. To me, that shows growth. That shows, hey, we're moving in the right direction. But we gotta focus on the run game. And I feel like I've been preaching on that. And specifically in this game as well, because just like the Detroit Lions, if this can become a shootout, a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars will dare you to do it, and they would love to run up the board with you. So if you need to hold time of possession, Isaiah Pacheco is your man. Can we give a little golf clap to the defense last week? Because I feel like it's so underrated what they did against the Detroit Lions. Now again, it wasn't nothing sexy. It was nothing magnificent, but everyone expected the Detroit Lions to get 30 points, and they expected the Kansas City Chiefs to win a high shootout bout without Chris Jones. And this defense, they stood the toll. And also, it's a good sign in the right direction, because every year with Steve Spagnuolo, this defense looks rusty and not ready to start a season. Again, it wasn't perfect, but they look like they belong out there. And if they can keep moving in the right direction, we might not have to wait till November to see a good defense on the football field. We might see it this week, and specifically with Chris Jones back, because now your D-line can have fun and they can do what they do best, which is get after the quarterback. You got Chris Jones back in the middle. He's going to draw his double coverage. Let George Karlaftis and let Mike Dana, yes, I'm saying it, Mike Dana, the underrated rotational pass rusher. He is someone who is a sneaky good athlete on this defensive line. But also, the rookie, FAU, Felix Anudike-Uzomah. Last year, we waited too long to put George Karlaftis in the lineup. Do not make that same mistake with FAU, Spags. He was getting pressures every time he was on the football field. Like Rashee Rice, his snap count needs to increase drastically, because if he did it all preseason, he did it week one, it's a sign of good things, and it should be fun to watch. And I think it's funny too. All offseason, you hear Chiefs Kingdom saying, the Kansas City Chiefs don't do nothing for pass rushers. They've addressed it. You guys just might not like who they draft. And honestly, now people are preaching to bring back Carlos Dunlap or a veteran pass rusher. They don't need it. They really don't. You just need to play the guys you have. And I believe if you play FAU more, he's going to show shine. And same with George Karlaftis and then Mike Dana as well. And then, man, I kind of want to fast forward through the season, but not really. But I can't wait to see Charles Omenihu out there as well, because this D-line is going to be so much fun to watch. But what this Kansas City Chiefs defense did against the Detroit Lions is they kind of sort of stopped the run. Now, it depends on who they were going against. When it was David Montgomery, they did a very solid job. But when it was against Jahmyr Gibbs, they did allow 6 yards per rush. Why should that raise a light bulb in your head? I kind of can compare him to Travis Etienne. And you do not want to let Travis Etienne get going, because he is a dual threat back, explosive back, and also a receiving back. You better be dialed in all over the field and make sure he does not go nowhere, whether it be that D-line or in the receiving game. I got a huge issue to pick with Spags. You got to play Drew Tranquill, specifically in this game. And that should be his matchup against Travis Etienne, and just let them boys battle it out. You don't have all these linebackers for no reason. You got to execute and let these players ball. And I think this is the perfect game to do it as well. And then as you focus on this Jacksonville Jaguars offense in whole, they got a nice, sneaky wide receiving core, starting off with the newly acquired Calvin Ridley. And boy, does he look like the Calvin Ridley before all the betting scandals and with the Atlanta Falcons. He started the season off already with 100 yards and a touchdown against the Indianapolis Colts. The matchup I'm looking for him to draw is against Trent McDuffie. And I believe Trent McDuffie will be ready to rise to the occasion. And I think that's going to be a fun battle. I know a lot of us want to see L'Jarius Sneed take that on, but I want to see L'Jarius Sneed more in the slot. And it doesn't mean he's going to have an easy matchup either, because you got Christian Kirk, who was a little quiet, but Trevor Lawrence, with all those weapons, he can pick and choose which one he wants to eat at any given moment. And you better not let Christian Kirk be that guy. And I think L'Jarius Sneed, that's a perfect matchup. But you're not done there either, because you got a guy like, I almost said Zay Flowers. Now I completely lost his name. Zay Jones. There we go. Woo! I almost drew a complete blank. But Zay Jones, another big athletic speed wide receiver. Hey, you guys need to raise to the occasion, whether it be Joshua Williams, whether it be Jalen Watson. One of you guys are going to draw that matchup. You got to man up. And honestly, I've been impressed with what Joshua Williams has done. I haven't really seen too much of Watson, but Williams has been popping up and he's looking to take that huge step. And if he draws that matchup, I'm excited for it. He's a big physical cornerback, and I would love to see them go toe-to-toe. And you're still not done when you talk about this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. And the last piece on it is the tight end, Evan Ingram. He had a huge bounce back year with the Jacksonville Jaguars coming from the New York Giants. And last week, he had a solid game too. 5 catches, 50 yards. Like I mentioned, Trevor Lawrence, if you leave a guy open, he's going to get there. And he's got a lot of weapons on display to do it. So the Kansas City Chiefs better be on their P's and Q's, or it's going to be a long day. And I really, really don't want to go back and forth with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Kind of the same as the Detroit Lions. In my perfect world, I just want the Kansas City Chiefs to play good defense and this offense to be clicking, go up double digits, sit back, relax, and enjoy a nice Sunday afternoon. But with that, Chiefs Kingdom, that will wrap up my preview. If you thought the Detroit Lions game was fun and exciting, this one may take it to a whole nother level. You better be tuned in, because this is going to be a great rematch. With that, I'm going to check out. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you did like this video, please leave that big thumbs up. Y'all take care.